Wow. Hey, before I get started, we got to thank the beautiful family and their staff for it. I mean, this is amazing. Let's thank you for doing that. Also, I'd like to acknowledge the people that I thought would be some of my staff members. Isaac, Mike, stand up. Adam. And I got up. Terry, stand up there. Stand up. Terry has rode this roller coaster ride with me for 46 years. We've been together since we were 18. Been married 40 years. By the way, Don Fisher, I was 14. "50 years, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Hey, listen, this is really not about me. You know, when my AD, Scott Dawson, called me and asked to sit down and talk to me about the job, it was like the most amazing moment of my life, really. And the fact that he brought me back home, you have no idea how much that means to me, really. This was the only college job that I would have taken to leave the NBA. I've spent over half my life in the NBA. 34 years. But I didn't come back here because of Mike Woodson. I came back here because of the 17 guys that wear that uniform and how I can get them to believe that we can win Big Ten titles and national titles. That's the only reason why. And Indiana fans, when I look around this room, it hasn't changed. Boy, you're the most beautiful fans, boy. I mean, really, give yourselves a hand, really. I love what I do as a coach. And just like Tom said, I like teaching and making guys better on and off the court. That's important to me. You know, I know we got this portal and this NIL stuff, and I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to ask questions. I know that's dangling out there, but when I recruit a kid, I can care less about the NIL. And if you chase, I know it's here to stay, I get it. But if you chase in the NIL, you can't wear an university uniform here. You just can't. I want players to come here and get an education and play for one of the greatest basketball institutions you can possibly play for. That's what it's all about to me. You know, it was amazing that when I started this journey a year ago, and I sat down with all these players and I gave this all-star speech. And when I said, hey, who's going to stay on board and allow Coach Woodson to coach? Shit, 2-3 walk-ons. Oh, really, think about that. I'm thinking like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, I gave an unbelievable speech. And I got 2-3 walk-ons that raised their hands, so I got to do some damage control now. So I went to the top, to Trace Jackson Davis. And after sitting with him over an hour and a half, watching film with his family, he made the commitment to come back. And that was huge because everybody seemed to fall in place. And once we got going, I got the team in place. We started that journey. And I had one of the reporters outside today asked me, well, are you going to spend much time on defense this year instead of spending it on offense? And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to spend a lot of time on defense. Because when I played here, a guy by the name of Bob Knight, who I think is the greatest basketball. And he always had great defense teams. Think about that. He always had great defensive teams. And they won. So, defense will be our staple, our signature. And then I got to figure out the offensive end. Now, we got a bunch of new guys coming in. And Jalen Safino, CJ Gunn, Malik Renew, Caleb Banks, that I think can help our ball club. They're talented young kids. But I got to help them speed the process up. Because they're going to have to contribute to help us be successful this season. That's important. Now, with the guys that are returning, they got a whiff from Coach Woodson. They know what I'm about. I'm a no-nonsense coach. And when it's time to play, you got to step up and play. So they should be a year better with the summer workouts that we've been going through with these young men. It should be a good season next season. So, with that being said, I'm going to open up the floor for questions. And you can ask me anything that you want. And I say that because of the family. And I'm not trying to hide anything. This is unbelievable. I look around this room, man, this is incredible. Who's got the first question? What you got? Say that again. It's going to be the wings. There's no doubt about that. I think Jalen coming in, Safino will push Xavier. And I think Caleb Banks and CJ and Malik will push some of our veteran guys because they're very talented young kids. So, I mean, competition is good. It's, I've always, if you're scared of competition, then you shouldn't play sports. No, really. And I try to bring in enough talent to make it competitive in practice. Because when you do that, everybody becomes a player. If they work. And they will work. So, to answer your question, I think the wings will be more competitive this season. Any other questions?
How are you going to get Trace to shoot more jump shots?
Well, that's a great question. I chased Trace to come back, guys. You guys had no idea. I flew out to LA to deal with his agent and Trace. I shared this with you. I knew he was going to the combines. And hell, I got on the plane. I flew into Chicago. I'm heading to the gym, thinking I'm going to see Trace. Phone rings and Trace says, "Coach, I'm not coming." So what do you mean not coming? I'm in Chicago. I need to meet with you tomorrow in Indianapolis. I said, okay, I'll make my trip back home. Meet you in Indianapolis. And that was a great meeting because he decided to come back. But with that being said, to answer your question, I never once told Trace Jackson Davis last season I was shooting basketball. It's all right here, and I got to kind of program him to understand that it's okay to shoot. Because the way we fit his play, he's in a position where he can shoot 16 to 17 foot shots. But at the end of the day, his comfort zone is on the block, and somehow I gotta mix it up and make him shoot some shots out on the floor and still put him in his comfort zone where he can help us with basketball games. Any other questions?
Go over here. Go over here. You reported that Trey said that you smiled, but you still made me smile after the meeting. How long did you smile after?
I'm still smiling. Hey, we all should be smiling. Really. It was great the race committed to come back, but the race, it's like the icing on the cake, man. To have him back, man, it makes us complete. Now we just got to go to work, and I got to get him over the hump. That's the name of the game. Yes.
You got 2 players coming out of Mother Verde out of Florida. You got a visit in June. Maybe a top 5 high school player in June. Is that still solid? Is he still coming? What do you think he's taking part of grab at him?
Well, don't know until he gets on campus. It's funny, Malik, I knew I had no shot at him early on. I saw him early on with Jalen, and he had committed to go to Florida. And when that coach left to go somewhere, I forget where he went. Where? Georgia. You'll never hear me say anything bad about the coach. I mean, coaching is hard, people. It really is. And I don't care what level you coach at. It's tough. But Malik, when he came available, I told King, I said, man, y'all got to get him on the phone. Let me talk to the kid. And I happened to be in Jupiter at the time. I called him, I asked him would he give me a private workout. So I drove from Jupiter down to Orlando, and he gave me a private workout. And I sat with him. I mean, it was an unbelievable workout. And I sat with him, I said, hey man, you got to come to Bloomington, at least give me an opportunity to recruit you, bring your mom and dad up. Just do that for me. And he did. Came to Bloomington, and he just kind of had me on this roller coaster ride the whole 2 days. And I'm like, I don't know what this kid's going to do. So we get to, what's the restaurant? Bedrock. So I'm sitting in Bedrock, sitting across from him. His mom's sitting next to him. We having this small talk, and I'm like, shit, man, come on. Sorry, Jeff. I'm like, hey, man, you want to tell me something? So he says, hey, coach, I got to talk to you, man. I said, okay, what you got? What's going on? He said, no, we got to go outside. So I go outside on the street, and I'm like, well, what's going on? He says, coach, I'm coming to Indiana. Man, I jumped into that kid's arms. We walked back to the restaurant. There was a lot of people in that restaurant that morning. And I just did this. Yes! Yes, and everybody knew. So, no, I don't know about the other kid, though. I mean, we'll keep working. I got to get through these kids. We got, 2 years from now, we got the kid Cups and Ja'Kai Newton coming in, which are 2 really good players. But we got to add to that mix down the road. Any other questions?
Hey, Coach, we've done a lot of things we wanted you to do, but these people here, they want to play Kentucky.
Hey, listen, Kyle and I are really close. Well, we are. And maybe we might be too close. That's why I don't want to play. And And I don't, again, when I took the job, I called Cal about the Kentucky game. And, I wanted the old way. I mean, you come to Bloomington, we go to Lexington. He doesn't want any parts of that. So, Scott, we got to get this done. Now, I can play Louisville. I can't do a Louisville game in 2 years. So Kenny and I are close enough to make that happen. We can sit here and clap all we want. We won Kentucky.
Coach,
Yeah.
did you get a few more technical?
No. No. You asked me to be ugly. No. I think I got one this year. Yeah, that was more than enough. And I didn't say enough to get it. I've said worse in the NBA. Any other questions? Yes.
How can you summarize the difference of how Coach Knight treated you as a player and how you treat players?
That's a great question.
What's the question?
The question was, how could I summarize Coach Knight and the way he treated me as a coach versus how I treat our players today? Players today are different. They really are. And that's no knock against these players. I just don't think players that I coach today that could have gotten through a 3-hour practice. And again, I don't mean that in a negative way, because it set the table for who I am today. It set the table. And it's just different. Players are different. I don't think you can coach that way. Now, I'm trying to be fair until you show me differently. I'm going to always push players on both sides of the ball. I don't punish players, I guess you can call it punishment. Back in the day, we used to do these suicide drills, lines when you had to run when you didn't do things right. I don't do that anymore. I did it with my young Hog team, and I got away from that. I think the biggest tool that you have in coaching is playing time. And every player wants to play, and if you take that away from them, I think you get their attention.
Shoot the lights out, right? Not so much the case. Is that just the difference in the level of competition?
You can say that. You can say just confidence. It's a major jump from high school to college. I don't care how you cut it. It's a bigger jump from college to the NBA, if you're fortunate enough to play in the NBA. Again, it's my job to get all these guys comfortable when they step out of the floor, when they put that uniform on. That's my job. And it's still work in progress, and we got a lot of work ahead of us. And so I'm going to keep pushing them because I'm a competitor, man. I love to compete, and I want to see players do well, so we'll get it better at making shots. Any other questions?
Here.
Go back here.
Three-point shooting. We all know how important it is in today's game. Are we ever going to get any three-point shooting?
We're not that far off. My wife gave me a statistic the other day. The last 3-4 years, I believe, the Final Four team has averaged 46% shooting from threes. I take that back, 36. 36. We're at 33. So we're not that far off. Now, we were in the top 5 last year in shooting open threes. No, really. You know, UCLA, Duke, they were like 3rd, 3 and 4. And they made their shots, we didn't. And that was the difference. So, I mean, we're getting good looks. No, I don't mean that in a bad way. We're getting good looks. Again, it goes back to coach getting these guys the confidence to make shots. That's going to be important as we move along. I think we got guys that can make them. You know, that we just got to get them comfortable and shoot them and make it. Any other questions before we go?
Little man. Over here, over here.
You're next. What the greatest games I ever watched? For you last year, what game stands out to you the most as far as the coaching aspect? Because that game, obviously, you at halftime, there's a different team that came.
Well, it's 2 games. The Duke game was huge. I thought it put us back where we belong. It's this year since we had beaten the Duke. But I think the Michigan game as well was a turning point because I learned a lot about our team. I learned a lot about Trace Jackson Davis. Because at halftime, he was the guy that I truly challenged. And he could have easily gone the other way, but he stepped up and did what he had to do, and I didn't stop there, because when we got to the Illinois game, I put the last 8 matchups against Kobe, and I kind of put the stats right in his face, and I said, "You're scared of Kobe." Maybe I shouldn't be saying it to him. And he said, "No, I'm not, Coach." I said, "Well, the stats don't indicate that." And he was a different player against Kofi, against everybody. He was incredible. So he answered the bell. So I learned a lot about Trace Jackson Davis. That's why I'm happy he's back. Hey, before I go, she think I forgot about her.
One more.
But I can never forget about this woman, because she was my tutor when I was at Indiana University. She helped me get through school. And I came searching as soon as I got this job. Her blood right out of retirement. She said, "Coach, I'm happy with retirement." I said, "You are?" I said, "Well, I'm not real happy for you. You got the weekend to make a decision on coming back and being my executive assistant." And she came back. I need your house to stand up. I love you. I know we already go in closing. You have no idea how excited I am to be the Indiana University basketball. And when I tell you it's not about me, it's about you and the people who wear that uniform. That's what it's all about. And somehow, we got to get this team back on top. Be safe going home.